Jenny, hi, welcome to the series about exploring cultures and similarities between specifically Australian First Nations and the Indian Hinduism culture.
Hi, Ruchi. Thank you. I'm excited about speaking with you again.
Awesome. So, Jenny, today I thought something to explore is the concept of God. What is God in the First Nations culture? And I can give you my understanding of what God means for me, the way I practice my religion. So over to you. What is God signify, or what is the concept of God in the First Nations cultures?
Yeah, so for us, we don't worship a god as such. We don't worship a person who's been on the earth, and we're following their beliefs.
Yeah.
We're more of a spiritual society, and once again it reaffirms our connection to our earth, our country.
Yeah.
So it's the spirituality is about things that made stuff, like the creation of everything. How did the mountains, how were the mountains formed? How were the rivers formed? And it's more about a spirit's created this. And this is what we talk about in our dreaming, in the Dreamtime series. There and represented in yarning and in dance. It's all about telling the different stories about who created what and how it came about and how it all fits together.
Yeah, and that's quite similar to what we believe, right? Because Hinduism is famous as the culture of 1 billion gods, or I don't know the number, but there's some giant number, right? But the way I was taught, and I have to put it out there, it's a very personal thing how people practice Hinduism. Now, I was taught my culture, my religion from the eyes of scientists, my parents being scientists. And the way it was explained to me was that the gods really just represent energy forms. And the reason we have created stories and given gods shape and form is because analogies work really well. Even today, when you're talking about advertising, you're talking about marketing, we talk about stories. We say, tell a story, because that makes the concepts real. That makes people understand. It simplifies, complex concepts. And that's where the creation of idols and million gods came. But when you look at it from a scientific perspective, the gods really represent different forms of energy. And the concept of God for us is something that I was taught, Paramatma. Paramatma is the eternal being. Atma, Paramatma. So Paramatma is the eternal being, and we are the Atma. The Western concept is soul, but we look at it differently because soul has an identity in the Western concept, whereas for us, it's just a form of energy. And the whole aim of the being is to become one with the eternal being. Now, when I translate that into the concept of science, when I've studied physics, I'm a physics graduate. And when I look at it from the, viewpoint of physics, energy can neither be destroyed nor created. It's one of the laws of physics. And hence, we as beings cannot be created or destroyed. We are just one form, and we transform form from one to the other. So when you look at all of that, the concept of God for us is quite similar to what you just explained. It's really the force, the balance that made the world and that keeps the world going. So you have life cycle, for example. Life cycle, there's always birth, and then there's growth, and then there is death, because death is where evolution happens. And in our culture, that is signified by 3 main gods: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the protector, and Shiva is the destroyer. And he's been, where people don't understand, they think destruction is bad, but it's not, because without closure, there is no newness, there is no birth, there is no evolution. And that's also, the laws of evolution say that you have to, something that's not used is going to go extinct. Something that is used is going to get enhanced, but that only happens through birth. So it's quite an interesting concept. But, when you look at it from a scientific perspective, every aspect of God for us actually has a exact replica in the sciences.
Yes, that relationship and the making sense of why things happen is much more aligned when you're talking about the spirituality and the connection and that full life cycle piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why the connection to the earth, where the First Nations cultures are concerned, and we have a similar connection, except we just have not identified it with earth or land, or, we've actually confused ourselves in today's world with a lot of Western concepts. With the colonization that happened in India, we confused ourselves with what we had originally and what we were told was better. Except it's now starting to fall back into line, because more and more people are starting to get interested in what do the scriptures say. And let's look at the scriptures from the point of view of science. And then we're realizing, hang on, there were concepts that we already knew that the modern science is just rediscovering. So it's a really fascinating place we are in right now.
Yes, yes. And when our spirituality and beliefs are so grounded in country, taking care of the earth and the environment that we live in, being such a key thing, it's fascinating to see the Western culture wanting to learn more about, okay, what's this cultural burning thing?
Yes.
Even the way we fish is very different. So it's, it's more about sustainability. It's really very much about, how much do you need, what do you need, and don't waste.
Yeah. Tell me more about it, because that is, again, a very similar thing to what we believe in. So tell me more about the burning and the fishing.
Yeah, so it's being eyes wide open with regard to your environment. And, as I said before, our values are respect, responsibility and reciprocity. So that comes through in everything. That's not just about how we live, we talk and we communicate with people. It's how we live on the land that we do. So, we being around for 60,000 odd years, we know that there needs to be bushfires. Once again, full circle, things have to be removed to regrow. And knowing when to do that so that there's not a catastrophe is something that we've been very good at.
There's a particular way that the First Nations people do the burning, which gives, it doesn't allow the fire to grow. It contains it because of the way the emissions happen.
It's how big you burn it each time. It's there's a lot of factors in that, rather than just lighting a match and having a heap of people at the end with with fire hoses
and hope.
Very controlled.
Nice. Because we talk a lot about circular economy today. We talk a lot about sustainability today. But when you look at from these cultures' point of view, that was ingrained into it. That was inbuilt into the fabric of these older cultures. So, for example, with us, there is no wastage. Because even, one of the things I remember when I had my kids and they started going to preschool, I went to pick them up one day and they were playing with lentils and rice grains. And they had colored the lentils and rice different colors. And it was really nice because they could feel the texture, they get hands dirty. But the Indian in me was, oh my God, that is food, that is grain you're wasting,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
It's just a no. So if you have a book strewn on the floor, for example, you'll pick it up and you'll say sorry, because it's knowledge. It signifies knowledge, and part of that is you are respecting knowledge, and knowledge has been given a goddess's name, Saraswati. But all that it means is there's that energy that is going to help you with knowledge, and you just do not disrespect it.
Correct.
So all of these things have been built just so that there is no waste, that you
Yes.
respect. I mean, there are so many stories about, there's God in everything. What that really means is that you give equal weightage to everything. It doesn't matter whether it's an ant or an elephant or a human being. There's God in everything equally. That means everything
We believe
demands
there's a spirit in everything.
respect. Exactly. Yeah. I'm fascinating. The other day, someone asked me about my background, and I put the map of India and the map of Australia together. I said, see, that's my background now.
Yes.
And you can very easily see where the lands split apart, in the ancient days. You can see they still fit together. And
Fascinating, isn't it?
it is fascinating. And this, it's not a coincidence that we have so much similarity.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great to chat again, Jenny. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure learning more about your culture and getting to talk a little bit about mine.
Likewise, absolutely. Till next time.
Thank you, Ruchi.